Earth is the only planet known to science where life exists. Scientists already know that it formed more than 4.5 billion years ago from cosmic dust and gas, becoming part of our solar system. It is our home, but many of us are unaware of certain facts about it. Imagine if Earth suddenly stopped spinning. You would be thrown hundreds of kilometers away like a doll, and the oceans would spill over the shores in giant tsunamis. It sounds like science fiction, but it is physical reality. Our planet is not just a rock in space. It is a living organism with its own quirks, whims, and hidden secrets. And the deeper we dig, the more surprising they become. Do you know how the Earth is structured? Here are some important facts that you should know. 1. The Earth's core contains enough gold to cover the entire surface of our planet with a layer almost 45 centimeters thick. The inner core of the Earth has a radius of about 1,220 kilometers, which is comparable to 70% of the radius of the Moon. In addition, based on geophysical and geochemical methods, there is a suggestion that the inner core of our planet is approximately the same temperature as the Sun. Water on Earth is older than the planet itself. The H2O molecules that fill our seas and oceans formed in clouds of dust and gas before the birth of the solar system. More than 4.6 billion years ago, lightning strikes the ground on our planet more than 8.6 million times a day. Before the dawn of space travel, Earth was often depicted as a green world. Science fiction writer Frank Paul is believed to be the first to depict a cloudless blue planet with clearly defined land masses. On the cover of the July 1940 issue of Amazing Stories magazine, scientific data indicates that Earth formed from a solar nebula about 4.54 billion years ago. Life on the planet appeared about 4.25 billion years ago, that is, shortly after its emergence. The conditions for life on Earth are maintained by the ozone layer and the Earth's magnetic field, which weakens solar radiation that is harmful to life. The world's oceans cover about 70.8% of our planet's surface. Liquid water, which is necessary for all known life forms, does not exist on the surface of any known planet in the solar system except Earth. The average speed of movement of lithospheric plates on Earth is approximately equal to the speed of human fingernail growth. In 200 to 300 million years, hypothetically, all the continents of the planet will merge into the supercontinent Pangaea Ultima. Gravity is stronger at the Earth's poles than at the equator. A person who weighs 150.8 pounds, 68.4 kilograms, at the North Pole will weigh 400 grams less at the equator. More than 68% of the Earth's fresh water is in a solid state, including glaciers, snow cover, and permafrost. The Earth was first photographed from space in 1959 by the Explorer 6 spacecraft. The first image of the entire Earth was taken by the Lunar Orbiter V orbital station on August 8, 1967. The most massive extinction in the history of Earth occurred at the end of the Permian period, 298.9 plus or minus 0.15 million years ago, when more than 90% of living creatures on the planet died. The highest point on Earth's surface is Mount Everest, 8,848 m above sea level, and the deepest is the Mariana Trench, 10,994 m below sea level. The deadliest of all known tsunamis occurred on December 26, 2004, in Southeast Asia, caused by an underwater earthquake in the Indian Ocean with a magnitude of 9.3. The total number of deaths exceeded 235,000 people. The most toxic plant on Earth is the yew, a genus of small coniferous trees. Every part of this tree is poisonous, except for its berries. But their seeds are also poisonous. If all the water in the world's oceans were evenly distributed across the surface, it would form a layer more than 2.7 kilometers thick. Of all the water on Earth, only 2.5% is fresh water, the rest is salt water. Without the greenhouse effect, the average temperature on Earth would be between minus 18 and minus 23 degrees Celsius, whereas in reality it is 14.8 degrees Celsius. Without this heat insulation effect, life on our planet would most likely not exist. The atmosphere gradually transitions into interplanetary space in the exosphere. which begins at an altitude of 500,1000 kilometers from the Earth's surface. By definition, the boundary between the atmosphere and space is drawn along the Kármán line, located at an altitude of about 100 kilometers, above which aviation flights become completely impossible. Human breathing becomes impossible at an altitude of 9 kilometers. Although the atmosphere contains oxygen up to approximately 115 kilometers, at an altitude of about 19 to 20 kilometers, atmospheric pressure decreases so much that it causes water and interstitial fluid in the human body to boil. Outside a pressurized cabin at these altitudes, death occurs almost instantly. The oceans lose more water through evaporation than they receive through precipitation. While on land the opposite is true. Water circulates continuously around the globe, while its total amount remains unchanged. The Earth rotates from west to east due to tidal acceleration. Each subsequent day is on average 29 nanoseconds longer than the previous one. Due to tidal synchronization, the Moon is moving away from the Earth at a rate of approximately 38 millimeters per year over millions of years. This tiny change, along with an increase in the length of the Earth's day by 23 microseconds per year, will lead to significant changes. For example, during the Devonian period, approximately 410 million years ago, there were 400 days in a year, and a day lasted 21.8 hours. The largest waves on Earth, caused by tides, are observed in the Bay of Fundy in Canada and reach 18 meters. Earth is the only name of a planet that was not taken from Greco-Roman mythology. Lake Baikal in Russia accounts for about 20% of the world's lake freshwater reserves. It is the deepest and oldest lake in the world. The ice sheet in Antarctica contains about 80% of all the planet's fresh water. If it melts completely, the level of the world's oceans will rise by almost 60 meters. The Earth orbits the Sun at a distance of about 150 million kilometers at a speed of almost 30 kilometers per second. The driest place on Earth is the Atacama Desert in Chile. In some parts of this desert, it rains once every few decades. If the history of the Earth were represented as a 24-hour period, dinosaurs would have become extinct at 11:41 p.m., and human existence would have begun at 11:54 p.m. and 43 seconds of the same day. Since the dawn of human civilization, the number of trees on the planet has almost halved. As a result of human activity, we are losing around 15 billion trees every year. Ilulissat, Greenland. According to recent studies, the number of wild animals on Earth has halved over the past 40 years. Since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the concentration of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere has increased by almost 30%. At the current rate, about 30% of animal species could disappear from the face of our planet in the next 100 years. As soon as solar luminosity becomes 10% higher than its current value, the average global surface temperature will reach 47 degrees Celsius. The atmosphere will become a wet greenhouse and lead to uncontrolled evaporation of the oceans. According to Brandon Carter's End of the World theorem, in 10,000 years, humanity will become extinct with a probability of 95%. A significant portion of salt the world's oceans were released during volcanic eruptions or extracted from cooled volcanic rocks that formed the ocean floor. The Amazon rainforest is home to nearly 1/3 of all land animals on our planet. Many species of Amazonian animals have not even been described or identified. Lightning strikes mainly taller objects. This is because the electrical discharge follows the path of least resistance, i.e., the shortest path. Therefore, it is dangerous to be in an open space during a thunderstorm, as in this case a person protrudes significantly above the surface. On October 31st, 2011, the Earth's population reached 7 billion people. According to UN estimates, by 2050 the population of our planet will reach 9.2 billion. Previously, it was assumed that there was an anti-Earth, also known as Gloria, a hypothetical celestial body beyond the Sun, constantly located at the opposite point of the Earth's orbit at point L3, moving synchronously and in 1:1 orbital resonance with the Earth. In 2007, several stereo satellites were launched, whose orbits in the initial stage of operation allowed direct Observation of the L 3-point area. No objects were found there. There is a place on Earth where you can hear the song of the magnetic field. In 2018, scientists from the European Space Agency, ESA, discovered that the Earth's magnetic field sings. It turns out that, when it interacts with the solar wind, it generates ultrasonic waves that can be converted into sound. The vibrations, dubbed the Earth's choir, occur in the magnetosphere at an altitude of tens of thousands of kilometers and resemble the chirping of birds or the howling of the wind. The Earth is pear-shaped. It turns out that the Earth is not a perfect sphere. Due to the uneven distribution of mass and gravitational anomalies, the planet resembles a geoid. This shape was first described by the German mathematician C. F. Gauss, who defined it as the mathematical shape of the Earth, a smooth but irregular surface. In simple terms, our planet resembles a slightly flattened pear. The Earth moves through space at a speed of 900,000 kilometers per hour. The Earth does not stand still. It revolves around the Sun together with the solar system. Our planet moves in a spiral toward the center of the Milky Way galaxy at a speed of about 220 to 250 km/s, approximately 792,000 to 900,000 kilometers per hour, completing a full rotation in about 230 to 250 million years. The driest region on the planet is not a desert, but Antarctica. The dry valleys, snow-free valleys of Antarctic, oases covering an area of 8,000 square kilometers, have not seen rain for 2 million years. Thus, the place is considered the driest on Earth or an ice desert. The Earth could have been purple. Scientists suggest that billions of years ago, the first photosynthetic organisms used the pigment retinol, a simpler molecule than chlorophyll. As a result, vegetation could have been purple rather than green. The oceans contain more gold than all the mines on Earth. According to scientists' estimates, there are about 20 million tons of gold dissolved in the world's oceans, but its concentration is negligible, about 1 ton per 13 billion tons of water. Extracting the precious metal from water is not economically viable. At the same time, the total amount of gold mined by humans is approximately 200,000 tons. The quietest place on Earth, the anechoic test chamber at the Orfield Laboratory. The Orfield Laboratory, USA, is listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the quietest place on Earth. The noise level is minus 24.9 decibels, which is well below the human hearing threshold, which ranges from 0 to 130 decibels. The chamber absorbs 99.9% of sound, creating conditions in which you can hear your own heartbeat or even the flow of blood. People cannot stay in it for more than 45 minutes. Lightning is hotter than the sun. The temperature of lightning that we see in the sky reaches 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times higher than the average surface temperature of the sun. The energy released by lightning in a fraction of a second is enough to instantly evaporate water and melt sand. Store water.